Hi everyone, this is Tanishka and this is my transmission for the approaching full moon in Aquarius on August the 15th. Now we are still in the Lion's Gate, which is kind of like being in the jaws of a lion. Being the 8th month, this is challenging us to look at our issues around power, okay? So I'd like to, sum it up that where is our mind impacting our capacity to love? Let me explain what I mean. With Sun moving through Leo, Shadow Leo is when we operate out of the solar plexus. And I've seen, astrologers online speaking about, Leo governs the solar plexus. Well, I see it differently. The solar plexus is the place where we are trying to find our self-worth. We're trying to find our identity. We haven't yet found it, okay? When we find that, the energy moves up into the heart, okay? And then we shine brightly, which is positive Leo. Yeah, we share our gifts with the world. We speak our heart freely. We're not afraid to be big. We're not afraid to be seen because we know who we are inside, okay? If we aren't there yet, we are intimidated by others' bigness, by others' light, because it brings up for us where we don't feel that confident to shine. It brings up like shining a flashlight on our insecurities where we feel inadequate, where we feel we're not enough. Yeah, that we can't match the other person. We can't possibly compete with them. And that's the key word, compete. If someone is operating in solar plexus, they're seeing everything in terms of higher, lower status, okay? So power. They're not seeing the heart, which is where we just share the light, yeah? So if someone is operating out of solar plexus, they're in the mind. So they're playing small because the 10% rational mind limits us, limits our ability to shine based on our limited thinking, our small thoughts. So we become a small person. And unconsciously, we resent those that shine brightly. Yeah, we may project a story onto them so that we don't have to look at why we are afraid of shining brightly. Yeah, much easier to attack somebody, even if we don't verbally say it, even if it's just in our own thoughts, that we become resentful and we're not happy for their success, or we're not happy for them to celebrate who they are out in the world. Yeah, I had a massage here the other day on Saturday, and my massage therapist, her son is going to graduate from university soon, and that's a big deal here in Bali. It costs a lot of money. And I said, oh, you're going to have a party? And she said, no, we don't want to draw attention. Other people wouldn't be happy for us, so we just privately have a dinner at home. And this is Shadow Leo, not being able to openly celebrate your success for fear that other people will want to take you down. Okay. I also want to speak to how this impacts our patterns of relating, because this full moon that we are approaching is going to be exact opposite to Venus, okay, and to Mars, but the degree is 22 degrees. So exactly opposite Venus. So this is going to be a challenging time for relationships. And the reason is, if we are in the heart, okay, if we are truly embodying our soul's light without shame, without apology, just being who we are, all right, then we have awakened that divine spark. We all have, a piece of the sun within us. And we are sacred and sovereign. We are a sun unto ourselves, okay? So We are our own authority figure. Our own inner queen or inner king is sitting within the throne of the heart. Okay. Now, this is a wonderful thing. But when one awakens that level of personal power, the pool of people that you can be in intimate relationship with, that you can have in your inner circle, becomes smaller. I will explain. I remember years ago, I had a vision that I had to leave my home and go up to the mountain where there were the lions. So the lions, the mountain lions, resided in the high places. And it was a sign that I had grown, okay, that I had outgrown some connections, and that, you know, no doubt I would meet them again next life. But in this life, that chapter was done, and it was time for me to ascend, you know, the mountain and to assume another level of bigness. All right. Now, in our culture, being big is not something we are necessarily supported to do, particularly women. Yeah, we're told to be a size 0, yeah, to not be threatening, to not take up space, to not be ambitious. Men, on the other hand, are told to take up a lot of space, to take steroids, to appear bigger. And so, you know, we have this unspoken, subconscious fear of not being big enough if we're in a male body, or being too big to be loved and embraced if we're female. Now, if a king or a queen is with somebody who is at the psychological development of the knight or the maiden, okay, somebody who is striving to prove their worth, to gain acceptance and approval, to gain recognition and validation through what they do, rather than just knowing who they are, knowing that they don't need external validation, recognition, or approval, yeah, then that's going to be difficult to be in close proximity with somebody who does, because unconsciously they will resent the other person for being big. I'll explain what I mean. If someone who has a big light, a big presence, a big soul walks into a room, their presence takes up a lot of space. They may turn heads. They will be noticed. People will listen when they speak. They have a commanding presence. Those who have not found as much light within, have not journeyed into the dark to find their own soul, or the fragments and pieces of their own soul, they will often feel put upon by a big energy. In other words, they can't energetically match it. Yeah, they can't meet that energy heart to heart, meeting in the heart, shoulder to shoulder, face to face. They may become self-conscious. It may trigger their anxieties. They may become tongue-tied. But psychologically, they may react with resentment. Who are they to come in and, you know, think they own the place? And yeah, who are they to shine brightly? Yeah. So, you know, we have grown up with unconscious group dynamics. So whether it's in the schoolyard, the workplace, the family home, we encounter these unspoken dynamics all the time. But somebody who is in the heart, somebody who is a sovereign unto themselves, sees the light in others, affirms the light in others, and encourages that light to shine out in the world. Yeah? If one does not have that self-belief, the heart can implode like a dark star, like a black hole, and become eclipsed by their own fears that they are inadequate, that they are not enough, and spiral into self-loathing, yeah, spiraling from the heart into the solar plexus, into their worst fears about themselves. And this spirals them down into the lower emotional states of shame. Now, shame is not a comfortable place to sit. So when we are feeling shame, rather than look at why we're feeling shame, why we have an inability, a lack of capacity to truly love ourselves, because the love for the self comes from the heart, from the inner mother and the inner father that sit in the heart center, the heart chakra or energy center. If this energy is not strong, then that shame is so uncomfortable, we can want to attack outwardly rather than feel the shame and go deeply into the cause of it. So this is what creates power struggle. This is what creates conflict when we try to regain our sense of personal power by trying to take somebody else down, by minimizing their light, by, negating their right to shine. Yeah. So I just felt that it's important to speak about this because at the moment, the planet Sirius, which is actually two planets, Sirius and Sirius B, is the closest that they get to Earth in a year. And the ancient Egyptians really acknowledged the power of the initiation of Sirius at this time of year. Sounds serious, but isn't. So Sirius is, twice the size of our sun. So that is why it's not just Leo, okay, that's asking us to shine brightly and to look at why we're not happy for others to shine brightly. But Sirius coming through this close to Earth, okay, shining so brightly, is really illuminating where we're not seeing our light, celebrating our light, and seeing and celebrating the light of others. So I'm just going to look at my notes. Yesterday, we had both Uranus and Jupiter stationary, which will really have amplified their impact. So there's, a lot going on at the moment, being in that Lion's Gate. It's a time when, we're more prone to coronial injections, huge influxes of high frequency light from the sun, because of that close proximity of Sirius. So this may be a time when you experience heightened emotions and feeling waves of extreme tiredness, because it's only when we're in deep states of sleep and relaxation that we can really easily integrate the influx of light, high frequency energies. But it's a wonderful practice to do during the sun's transit through Leo, to stand and with your eyes closed, look at the sun and breathe that light in. Yeah, or to look at Sirius in the night sky and breathe that energy down. Allow that light in with love and receptivity to amplify your light body, to help you to upgrade gracefully to your next level of greatness, of majesty, of sovereignty, of power, beautiful power, not power that we should fear or be ashamed of. So power is simply our ability to walk our talk, to be the embodiment of our core values, of our truth, and the ability to respond in accordance with our truth. So, as I said, this exact opposition with Venus, we'll be feeling it already. And because this full moon is in Aquarius, the opposite sign of Leo, so we're being asked to look at that axis and balance these energies. Aquarius is about sudden change, particularly sudden information coming in that catalyzes a big change. Okay, so we have, with this full moon, Uranus, the ruling planet of Aquarius, forming a square. Now, a square is a 90-degree angle. It's a challenging aspect, and it's forming this to Mercury, the planet of communication. So this heightens the chance of communications, delivering information that seems to just be so random, coming out of left field. And with Mercury, planet of communication, in the fire sign of Leo, there is a possibility we could react, fight fire with fire sort of thing, react like a drama queen or a drama king, which puts fuel on the fire, like putting petrol, fire water onto the situation. So the other big piece this full moon is that our collective north node, so we think about a compass, we think about where is due north, that planet Sirius that I was talking about, which is the planet that the 3 major pyramids in Egypt align with, okay? This is conjunct the north node. Now, the north node is currently in the sign of Cancer, which is the inner mother, okay? So Cancer rules parent-child relationships and issues, home and family, personal relationships. So what we're likely to see is Sirius bringing up to the fore, okay, with that intense light, any unhealed parent-child relationships, mother complex, father complex, and realizing the impact that that is having on our personal relationships, on our home and family. So the key is to nurture ourselves. So how do we do that? First of all, the obvious thing is to say, well, get enough sleep, eat regular protein, the things that we need to sustain our energy. But even more crucial is to stay connected to the heart, which governs the feeling function, the feeling body, moment to moment to moment to moment, and to notice, how am I feeling? Because through that, we stay connected. And when we're connected, we're able to respond to what our authentic needs are based on our feelings. When we're not in that space, when we're not in a heart space, we unconsciously go down into solar plexus and we run on anxiety because we're not connected. So therefore, we're not in a state of trusting ourselves to respond as the inner parent, taking care of our lower self, our inner child and teenagers' needs. And we're not in trust, in communion with the light of existence, of source energy, of all that is. So we flip into disassociating, into control dramas, into, being very quick. Yeah, notice if you're speaking quickly, if you're acting quickly, chances are you are operating out of the solar plexus. I'm late, I haven't got enough time, I haven't got enough money. These are the sort of beliefs that run the solar plexus into a state of exhaustion and burnout because they're running on the adrenals, which the solar plexus governs, which is fear-based, limited beliefs that cause us not to be present. When we're in the heart, we are present to what we're feeling in the moment, able to respond and go, okay, that might have happened in the past, but is that true right now in my present? Have a look around, check in, what's happening right now in this moment. Is the sky falling? No. Okay, I'm okay. So it's that tending to the self, showing up as the inner parent, that is the key to becoming the inner queen or the inner king. So this is what enables us to be truly available to connection with another, available to love, available to express the love of source, the love of all that is, through acts of beauty, acts of devotion, acts of service, These are the love languages, acts of affirming one's strengths. Yeah, if we are not in the heart, we are not able to allow love, source energy to flow through us through these love languages. Yeah. So this month, the heart is likely to be cracked open so that we can humble the ego through seeing our control dramas, through seeing our incapacity to love based on our fears, based on our projections that we're putting onto others, our limited beliefs that create a sense of separation rather than communion. So Sirius, that huge star, that sun that's twice the size of our sun, so close to Earth right now, is giving us this gift of cosmic light, of intensity, like being in the crucible, in the fire, which is where we forge that sword of truth, that knowing that we can attune to what our deepest knowing is in the heart. And through feeling all that's sitting in our heart, transcend our fears. This is what it is to be truly courageous, lion-hearted. This is a call for the hero to rise, the heroine to rise. This is in each and every one of us. This is when we dare confront our deepest fears rather than doing avoidance. This does require great courage to look at our own fearful projections of the mind. But the more we continue to connect with the heart and dare to feel everything, to breathe deeply, which will bring up any unexpressed feelings the heart is not wanting to feel through tightness, through shallow breath, then we're able to connect with where we're not feeling because we are afraid. Now we have 6 of the 10 planets this full moon in fixed signs. The fixed signs are Taurus, Scorpio, which is the horizontal axis of the fixed cross of the node that we're currently, the nodal axis we're currently in, which are the fixed signs of Aquarius, currently in the south, Aquarius and Leo. I made a mistake. The nodal axis that we are in as a group mind right now is actually Capricorn Cancer, but the axis of this full moon sun opposition this full moon is Aquarius and Leo. So those are the 4 fixed signs: Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio. So if you've got a lot of things in the fixed signs, you'll really be feeling the energies right now very intensely. The gift in having 6 out of 10 planets in fixed signs right now is it gives us that sticking power. It gives us the ability to show up when the going gets tough, to keep going, to be the sustaining principle that doesn't, just, oh, well, things are too tough, I'm out of here. It reminds me of in Macbeth by Shakespeare, where Lady Macbeth says, well, screw your courage to the sticking place and we'll not fail. Now, okay, she was deranged with her own personal ambition. However, that quote about screwing, now not the modern context of screwing meaning fucking somebody over or hate sex, but screwing as in a screw, like absolutely making your courage so impenetrably steadfast. Because what makes a true hero is not whether or not they succeed or fail, because failure is inevitable. If we assume the quest to become greater, to step up every time we're faced with a challenge that evokes our fears, we will fail. It is part of the quest. How else do we learn? How else do we transcend? Through working out what didn't work. But true success is not winning the battle. True success is not giving up. So when our courage is tested, the challenge is to find something greater within. And we find that by connecting with the light of source within us, by connecting and asking for help to transcend our fears. The small self cannot do it alone. We must humble the ego to access the light of all that is, to traverse the enemy, which is the enemy within, the fear that we're not enough, the fear that we cannot do it, the fear that we will fail. So this is what is being asked of us at this time. I want to speak briefly about the Aquarian energy. It evokes that of Ganymede. Ganymede was reduced to being merely a butt boy and a wine server for the gods of Olympus during the patriarchal rise of the Greco-Roman culture. However, he is the cup bearer. And before the empires, before their reign, the cup was sacred. It was the Grail. The cup represented receptivity. When we are open, when we are receptive, we can receive guidance. We can receive the gift of connection, which strengthens our trust and our belief that we will live to see another day, that we will be triumphant in the face of our fears. If we are not, I got totally into that and totally blanked on what I was saying. Right, Ganymede, the cupbearer. If we are not receptive, if we are stuck in solar plexus and our mind is full of preconceived expectations, projections, beliefs, we are not able to receive the genius, the divine insights that are available. We must step into the soul, which sits in the majesty of the heart, okay, in order to become that cup bearer. So Aquarius is a sign of frequency. The glyph is the sign of energy moving. This is a time when our energy is being upgraded with the help of Sirius, when we're going through an energetic shift, an upgrade, a reboot. And so the light of full moon in Aquarius is reflecting the light of the opposite sign of the sun in Leo. So it is showing us what scares us, what is the ultimate challenge for us right now in our lives, for our small self. And to do that, to overcome that which we fear more than anything else, requires a huge motivation. And that's where Aquarius comes in with a helping hand. Aquarius governs the big picture, the future. So if we look at how does what I'm currently dealing with, my small self in my personal life, how is that a part of the big picture? How can I use that challenge to serve the greater good? Yeah, knowing that whatever we heal in ourselves helps the greater good to also traverse that challenge. So we're asked to focus on the big picture and on the future. What do I want the future to look like? What is the highest possible potential outcome this situation could have? And focus on that rather than on the small self, the ego, shadow Leo's fears, which is there's not room for both of us to shine. Yeah. So I hope that's of help to you. The full moon will be exact on Thursday, the 15th of August, but we're really feeling the effects of it as we come into that. And ultimately, we're being asked to look at the trajectory, the time track that we're on, and ask ourselves, am I in alignment with my heart's deepest desires? Am I walking my true path with a heart? And if we are, we will become a shining light, an example to others, giving them permission to also shine brightly. All right, well, I hope this has served you well. And yeah, if you feel to share it, then it's absolutely, that's why I share these. So blessings, and if you'd like to receive these every fortnight, these updates of the energies we're experiencing every new moon and full moon, you can subscribe on my website, themoonwoman.com. Just a shout out for those of you who would like to journey and with me and be initiated into Queendom. There is a course that starts at the next new moon prior to the equinox, and there is a free video series that explains this on my website. So if you go to themoonwoman.com and you click on inner Goddess, which is an online course, you'll see in there a link to a free video series called Secrets of a Goddess. So have a look at that if you're curious and you'd like more info. So blessings. It's a very intense energy. Invoke, help, surrender all that you are to a higher power, and then you will traverse all that is challenging you. All right, blessings.